yeah, leaving Los Angeles was actually a horrible idea. So that concludes the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Wait a minute. Just kidding, guys. Hey there, if we haven't met, my name is Hannah and I'm from Los Angeles, California, currently living in the Netherlands. So the big question is, was it a big mistake moving from LA here? I'll be addressing that question through a list of pros and cons for both LA and the Netherlands. Without further ado, let's get started. There's a culture of openness in LA that I really love. I find that people are very friendly, welcoming, and outgoing, and overall it's just easier to meet new people and make friendships. There have been many a times where I've gone solo to a cafe, a bookstore, a fair, or even a night out, and I've been able to make friends and connections. Another thing is that it isn't weird to strike up a conversation with someone, well, as long as you're not being bizarre. And that's just something I really miss about LA in general, having that sort of openness to other people. Another pro is how incredibly diverse it is. This includes the people, the culture, the food, geography, and things to do. So for instance, you can actually go surfing in the morning, and by the afternoon, you can be in the mountains snowboarding. Next, I think that the job market is not only better in LA, there's just more availability and diversity across a range of sectors. Of course, this can depend on your skill set, but from my experience, I find that there's plenty of opportunity. And obviously, LA is the media and entertainment hub, but that's only a fraction of what's out there. We have a thriving tech space, healthcare, aerospace are very popular career industries. Let's talk about the obvious point that I'm pretty sure you knew I'd bring up. 365 days of sunshine. Well, at least close to it. At this point, I'm pretty sure some of you are rolling your eyes because everyone knows that LA has good weather, right? Well, I wanted to bring it up anyways because after moving to Europe, I noticed that the lack of sunshine actually had a severe impact on my mental and physical health and well-being. And while I've adjusted and I've found workarounds for this and gone to the doctor, the better weather in LA is always going to be a pro. Don't get me wrong, I really love and appreciate having actual seasons here in the Netherlands. So having spring, having autumn, and seeing the occasional snowfall in winter is something I've grown to love. But personally, my mind and body just really needs more sun. All right, let's move on to the cons. Los Angeles is extremely car-centric. You need a car to get anywhere and pretty much everywhere. It takes extreme planning and timing to get to your destination. Another thing is that you spend so much time in traffic. There was a study that came out in 2019 that said LA commuters spend an average of about 119 hours in traffic for a year. I mean, that's time you can be spending with your friends, your family, or watching Netflix. Next is, yep, you guessed it, public transport. Public transport is inefficient and it's far from adequate. From my experience living in the Netherlands, the city that I live in is a huge transportation hub where trains connect all over the country, even to Germany, France, and other places, where you can hop on a bike, a scooter, or just wherever and be somewhere in like 20-30 minutes max. LA's public transportation system, while I know they're trying to work on improving things, is just horrible. Next, let's move on to the Netherlands. So I've actually created a video about the 5 reasons why I love the Netherlands, and the things I'll be mentioning in this pros and cons list will differ completely from that. But if you'd like to see the video, I'll link it below in the description box. A big pro about working in the Netherlands are the holidays and holiday allowance. So as a full-time employee in the Netherlands, you have a minimum of about 1 month paid vacation. And I actually have friends that have 50 days paid holiday. Oh my goodness. I also mentioned holiday allowance. So this is an incentive that's paid out every May of the year. And the idea is that you are encouraged to take your holidays during the summer. And I really love that because the Dutch really embody mental, physical rest and taking just a step back. And I feel like when you have that break, you feel even more energized and prepared to go back to work. Safety, security, and therefore peace of mind. I think it's really easy to take this for granted, but living in the Netherlands, I've never felt unsafe or feared for pretty much anything really. I can go out on a walk at 2 a.m., not have to look over my shoulder. Of course, this doesn't mean that I don't exercise caution and I'm not aware of my surroundings. It's just nice not having to kind of be paranoid. I'm sure some people will disagree with me on this point, but I personally think that the Dutch have really great outlooks on life and really relaxed, laid back attitudes about things. I'm sure you've come across those studies that say the Dutch are among one of the top 10 countries with the happiest people. And I find that to be true. Most people that I know are quite optimistic about the small things, you know? They are quite positive, quite optimistic about things, generally speaking. All right, we have come to the portion of the video in which I'm aware some people might not like what I am going to say. So therefore, guys, just please take it with a grain of salt. These are all my experiences and mine only. I personally find that it's hard to break into the inner circle of a Dutch group. I find that some Dutch people are not maybe as open to make new friends and connections. Obviously, that doesn't mean everyone, but yeah, that's just my personal experience. My theory is some Dutch people will have friends from when they're very small, elementary school, and they'll grow up with that same group of friends through high school, uni, and they'll have that strong knit bond. And maybe, I don't want to say there's room for newcomers, but that's how it feels when you're on the outside. Now throw into that the language barrier. Maybe you speak Dutch fluently, maybe you don't. I have friends that speak Dutch fluently and it's still very difficult for them to break into Dutch circles. Generally speaking, I do find it challenging, difficult, but not impossible. I think there's hope. But from my experiences, it's not like you move here and then you're best friends with someone. I think connections here take a bit more time. They take a little bit more nurturing, if I can say. And again, I think it's possible to make Dutch friends, but it's not the easiest and it will take a bit more effort. Obviously, it depends on who you've met. Another con is the high population density. So being such a small country, it is extremely densely populated here. So I think that really creates a lot of competition. So for instance, the job market's very competitive, especially if you only speak one language, for instance. We have a housing shortage, so therefore it's incredibly hard to rent a place or even buy a place. There's a severe lack of space. The houses here, they feel a bit stacked up on one another. I feel as if you go a bit outside of the lines, maybe you dress a bit differently, you talk a bit differently, or you just have a behavior that goes outside the confines of what's considered normal, then you are deemed as strange. And the reason I say that is there is a Dutch saying that goes, "Doe normaal." Forgive me, I forget the rest of it. But yeah, my interpretation of that is that you have to fit this sort of behavior of what's deemed normal. And that took some time for me to grapple with. I have to be honest, it is still something that I struggle to understand. I respect, but it's hard for me to understand. And I'm not sure if that's because I come from a multicultural background where I grew up with, where I live, but I know this topic is quite deep actually. An example I can give, for instance, is I remember going to a party and a girl coming up to me and saying, "Wow, I really love your dance moves. Like, I could never do something like that," because someone would find it strange. And that was the first time I became conscious of that. So me just being myself, I guess, is considered different or not normal. So was leaving Los Angeles a good idea? Ultimately, I'd have to say yes, at least for the meantime. I mean, there are pros, cons, drawbacks to every place, but I think what's most important for myself is that home is where the heart is. And for me, that means both the Netherlands and Los Angeles. If you made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and share with me in the comments below some of your pros and cons for LA or the Netherlands. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.